It's the latest craze, and this one's inspiring a sweeping movement to clean up and cut down.
We have too much stuff. It's official.
It's so hard to let it go.
Choose items that spark joy for you.
Spark joy.
That's a new Netflix series, Tidying Up, hosted by Marie Kondo, who argues the best way to stay organized is to hold on to only the items that spark joy in your life and get rid of the rest. In each show, she teaches families her KonMari method of discarding, decluttering, and very specific way to fold shirts. But the movement hasn't been without some criticism from those who say getting rid of things you might need later just because they don't spark joy in the moment is a privilege not everyone can afford. As for my own organizational philosophy, as you can see by the state of my desk, I haven't exactly followed Kondo's advice, though I'd like to. But joining me are a pair who has, I'm told. Tina Opie, Associate Professor of Management and Folding at Babson College, and Jen Deaderick, author of She the People, An Illustrated History of Women's Citizenship. Great to see you, too, as always. So, disciple or dissenter? Dissenter is sort of like a more is more kind of person. You're a disciple, aren't you?
I'm a disciple.
Big time, yes?
Big time. I mean, my husband and I have been purging for years. I mean, my husband is sort of someone who's sparse anyway. I read this book thanks to someone from my church, actually, and began to give away bags of things to Savers and the Goodwill and didn't look back.
To cleanse your soul, to tidy up? I mean, what's the motivation? By the way, we're going to show a picture, I'm told, of your closet, which was organized using the method
I'm
here.
proud of
We'll
this.
see it in a second. What's the motivation for you?
I feel it really was, I had too much clutter. I had too much junk. It was hard to find things. It was hard to get places. It was hard to feel organized. And I will not lie. It gave me joy to look at a clean surface in a drawer with everything folded up. I know, I'm a little bit weird. That's what Jen said.
So are you into this too?
Well, first of all, I don't think that she's about getting rid of everything.
How do you know what she's about?
No, well, I know what Tina's about.
Oh,
Tina's
Marie
getting rid of
Kondo.
everything.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Tina, I know.
Okay.
No, Marie Kondo, I think, because I think we in this country think of getting rid of stuff as being a virtuous thing, right? We have this, we've got this kind of the Thoreau kind of thing, and the Quakers, does gift
No,
simple.
I think we have the exact opposite.
And
All
I
we
think
do is
Kondo,
we gather stuff.
But we have all this guilt about it, and we feel like we're bad people
That
because we
may
have
be
stuff,
true.
and then we purge everyone. Where Marie Kondo's whole thing is stuff can be joyful. It's just you don't have to look at stuff as a burden.
Okay,
it can
but
be
wait a
joyful.
second.
No,
Do
there's
you
the right
hold up-
amount of stuff.
Excuse me. Do you two hold up an article of clothing, put it in front of you, and
No.
say to yourself, does it spark joy in my life? And then if it doesn't, you thank it for the role it has played in your life
Okay,
before
I
you get
have
rid
done
of it?
that.
You've thanked
I'm
an
not-
article of clothing?
Yes, I have. I've said thank you for your service and put it away. However, I feel stupid every time I do it. So what I would say is this, sort of connecting those 2 points. I think in this country, capitalism, consumerism, we buy too much crap.
We
and
do.
we buy
We
cheap
do.
stuff
I do.
that has a hole in it as soon as you wear it.
That is true.
That's the kind of thing that I've been getting rid of, that I've been purging. And now when I go to the store, I'll buy a nice pair of shoes or a suit that will last for decades. So I'll spend more money on less. And I think that's something interesting to consider. Now, that is a privilege that I have. Right. Not everyone can do that. I mean, there's a reason why there's a market for $2 T-shirts and $5 T-shirts. Some
Because it's $2 and $5.
Yes, and also because, it's fast fashion.
Yeah.
But for me, it's not, because for me, a lot of the stuff that I had was like stuff that I inherited from my grandmother, stuff that I inherited from my great aunt. Some of it, yeah, because
Ooh, girl.
Well,
I'm not getting rid of that stuff. You can't frame it or something? What you doing?
Well, I don't need her potato masher.
Okay, that's true.
I don't, so there were things that
I'd take a potato masher if you're
if
done
I
with
knew
it.
you needed an extra potato masher, I can just, there were certain things that I love. I have my grandfather's shirt that he used to work in the workshop with. I kept that hanging in my thing.
Sparks joy. That's the whole point.
It sparks some joy.
Okay, so let me try another thing that from the Netflix thing, which I watched a little bit last night, is books. She treats books in the same way. Now, there are extremes. Peter Kadzis used to run the Phoenix. He's now in our newsroom. We're going to show you his desk. No one's talking about this kind of thing. You'll see it in a second here. But beyond Peter Kadzis, the other extreme, well, that is an incredible desk. That's even worse than mine, I would argue. But her attitude is, if you think you're going to reread a book or going to read a book you haven't read yet, get rid of it. And then it gets worse from what I understand. If there's a portion of a book that's given you joy, rip out the pages. That I mean,
I'm
insane.
a bibliophile, so that sort of makes me upset. My husband is even. You don't bend the book, put the book on its face because you don't want to split the spine of it.
I love him for that.
Yeah. So we're not going to do that.
I like the idea of like if I give books away, someone else is going to read it and enjoy it. And
Or having
I say,
those mobile libraries where you could. That would be great, but I'm not going to rip a book
My mother
apart.
was the first in her family to go to college. For her, having books in her house was a big deal. So she has tons of books, and I just helped her move recently, and the books were a big deal. I have less of. I don't have the same need to have as many books in my house.
Yeah.
Okay, so almost every time you're here, we're talking about gender politics, and there's a gender aspect to this thing. From tidying up, here's examples of the burdens of cleaning, decluttering, and how it's put on women. Watch this for a second.
So are you aware of where everything is?
Yes.
She's the only one that's aware of everything.
Cleaning the house was definitely one of them. Wasn't my priority, but it would definitely be hers.
I feel like I can never keep it clean. It was really after I had kids that everything just came full front. Like, I'm like, I can't do all this.
You know, but it seems to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, that Kondo's onto this. And when she talks about how tidying up together, I know your husband, can like sort of bring a couple together, she seems to be saying the burden on the woman is unfair and it does need to be divided. Am I right about that or not?
I think she does say that. I do think every couple, usually there's a member of the couple who's neat and one who's clean, someone who's organized. And so I think you can take that, and my husband will not be folding, as I will show you.
Could you fold as you're talking,
so
please? I'd really like to see the technique.
Well, it's interesting. So I did it, so I would have it. So what she does is, anyway, so he's not going to be necessarily folding this way, but he also has 5 dress shirts.
Okay.
So what she does is she takes it and she folds it into thirds that way, and then she does it again, and then you fold it in half. And if we had a box or a drawer, this would stand up. So if you saw those earlier pictures, I have a bunch of T-shirts. Now this just makes you feel, doesn't that make you feel
Can
good?
I tell you something?
Don't
That sparks joy in me, and it's not even my T-shirt. So we only have 30 seconds. What's your takeaway from the Kondo thing?
Well, I do. I mean, I think that I do think that there's a lot of. I think she nicely, subtly brings in the gender politics of it. Amy Westerfeld had a great piece in the Lily about this. You watch these husbands, and they're all, and so I think it's a great way to. She makes you not feel bad about having stuff, but makes you think about your stuff.
How about you? What's the takeaway for you guys?
I think less is more, and what you have, you should really enjoy.
Can I tell you, when I grow up, I want to be you too. I really do. I do. Jen, it's great to see you. Thanks so much.
Thanks so
Tina,
much,
as always, great to see you.